it's fantastic, the landscape. They take care so much of the landscape of Moscow that I saw this not in many cities. And it's a really good way, well done. It's a pedestrian area, there is a for car. It's always, the green is very, they take care a lot of this. This is, for me, it's beautiful.
I'm very well surprised. It's a fantastic city, extraordinary city. I enjoyed it a lot. The way the public space is very well kept, how the buildings are lighted during the night. It's a lovely city.
Yes, I see a lot of construction going on in Moscow. That probably is the main thing that I've been able to see in my short visit. There's a lot of public work going on, making plazas, sidewalks. So that was quite impressive. Another thing, I didn't realize that along the river there's development happening, a park with wonderful pedestrian areas, and I was able to see that. It was very impressive.
Well, I didn't know what to expect coming to Moscow, but I've come here. My first impressions, first of all, after I got through the Moscow traffic, which reminded me of Los Angeles traffic where I'm from, were just a beautiful, cosmopolitan, vibrant city, beyond what I ever realized, and just tremendously impressed with the diversity of architecture, the history in every corner, the revitalization of many of the public areas of the city, the investment that's taking place on public streets. Clearly an effort to revitalize the city and make it much more livable. So I've been tremendously impressed by everything I'm seeing.
Well, for me, the good thing to come over long periods of time to Moscow is to see the development. Because sometimes in the day-to-day you see all this construction of these projects, but now I have the chance to see them complete. And it is fantastic how the city center has evolved. Now you see it much more cleaner, but also much more focused on mobility. You see that it's becoming a city that welcomes the citizens, that welcomes the pedestrians. It is a very nice effect, but it's not something that just happens. It happens because there is a strong commitment from the government to make this happen. And that commitment has to be done in a long term. That's why I'm very hopeful to see that the Moscow Urban Forum continues to happen, because it shows that the commitment to have better cities in Russia is not something punctual, but it's a strategy that looks for the longer term.
And the impression is a city in change, is pushing really hard. I was very lucky to be at the table the other day with the deputy mayor and the chief of the Duma, the Moscow Duma, and I was amazed by the level of collaboration between the city and the national level to really understand how to push these policies and change Moscow for the better.
Well, I was really surprised by the way in the center all the public spaces changed. So pedestrian and bike paths, enlargement of space for citizens. I think it's a very good change, and it will improve the daily life, also not only for the citizens but also for the visitors.
I see now Moscow being much more in dialogue with other major urban centers around the world. It's very cosmopolitan. It always had an incredible sense of culture and connection, I think, to the human soul, so that has continued. But I'm very pleased to be here at the Moscow Urban Forum to talk about the importance of cities in dialogue with one another, and also to really speak about the importance of cities caring about artistic expression and freedom of expression and things that I care very much about as an artist.
For someone like me who grew up during the Cold War, there's something extraordinary about visiting these spaces that were once alien or forbidden and now are very welcoming, and yes, it was very striking, very beautiful.
The fact that you preserve so many historical buildings, very many, it's certainly something that you can demonstrate to the rest of the world, particularly a lot of the developing cities to show that historical buildings is one of the key elements to give the city a distinct character. It's certainly something you are in a very good position to demonstrate. But at the same time, I also feel that Russian people value arts and culture very, very highly. And you see signs of people's love for arts and culture almost, at every corner of the street. And that's something I think you should be very proud of.
The vision and the planning of the future of the city. I think that much is being done, and the city will become more attractive. And so attractiveness policies also for other cities are quite interesting to copy.
I'm intrigued by the relationship between new and old in Moscow, and I'd like to learn more about this. Having just arrived, I think I'll be very careful about either giving lessons or taking lessons, but my first impressions have been very positive.
Something that was a surprising experience, which was when the young chief architect of Moscow invited an international jury to select the architects for the big transformation of Saranzib Park. I mispronounced it. That was the concept. I was impressed, and the process impressed me. And I was sure that no way they're going to choose a foreign architect, and they did choose an American, who happens to be excellent architects. So that was a really, to me, between Strelka and that, those were refreshing experiences. I felt, you know what, I could live in this city.
What I'm certainly very impressed by is I know the mayor is calling it My Streets program, and that's something that would be very important for us in Los Angeles. In fact, our Mayor Eric Garcetti, has a program he calls Great Streets. But to be quite candid, I think what's happening in Moscow is far more ambitious and comprehensive even than what we're tackling in Los Angeles. I'll certainly be bringing back to our mayor's office the scope of what's taking place in Moscow, not only investing in the streets, but historic facades, landscaping, and really taking a comprehensive approach to our streets, because streets really are kind of the public living room of any city. It's where we gather. And what I'm seeing here for a city that, in my mind, was a city of very wide boulevards and a lot of traffic, seeing the effort to tame those streets and to make them much more human and livable, I think that's a very positive development that all cities can learn from.
I think the Russian character and the Russian culture brings is not to be scared to do something big, not to be scared to try and do something which has not been done before. And I think that is a quality which is not necessarily for Moscow, but is Russian. That's of course what attracts me of being here, because whenever I'm here, even in a very poor situation, when the economy is not so good, when the situation is not perfect and the world is not really so nice towards Russia, still Russian people have the strength and the power to try and do something strong, to do something new, to do something innovative. And I think that is a great value which many, many countries could learn from.
I think Moscow is becoming one of the great global cities.
No, I think the future of Moscow is very clear. It's clear for me, perhaps, but it's clear that they are doing a city on the city with the city. Then we have to wait, and the city will be the strongest perhaps in Europe.